Let's bring in, we're happy to have former United States Senator from Montana, Max Baucus. He served also as U.S. ambassador to China during the Obama administration, a crucial diplomatic position. Ambassador, Senator, thanks for being with us. Let me ask you kind of a big question. This crisis in China, this very aggressive lockdown coming after the pandemic, where one of the lessons a lot of countries might have taken is you don't want to offshore your manufacturing sector completely to China. Does this spell a challenge internally caused in some ways to China's power in the world?
I think that China is in a deep hole within a box. On the one hand, their zero COVID policy has been very successful. Only 5,000 deaths in China compared with the U.S. when we have about 100,000. And it's of a million deaths in the United States. So they're very proud how well they've controlled COVID, but at a great price. Price to the country, the people, price to their economy. So President Xi Jinping's got to decide, is he going to open up a little bit to let some of that pressure off so there'll be fewer demonstrations? Meantime, he's going to have a lot of police around too to keep the demonstrations down. Or is he going to keep zero COVID, which is going to cause a lot of problems, not only for the people and for the economy? My guess is he's going to open up a little bit. He's going to experiment. He's going to try, but he's got a big problem on his hands now because the more he opens up, the more people are going to be exposed to COVID. About 70% of Chinese have not been exposed to COVID. They don't have a good vaccine. Their hospital system is inadequate. So he's a huge problem right now. And let's just hope it works out. The real tragedy here, frankly, is that because of the tension between U.S. and China, we're not helping China through all this. We're not sending Pfizer vaccines over. We're not sending Moderna vaccines over. And it's because politics in America is so toxic. Nobody wants to do anything to help China in America today. On the other hand, Xi Jinping is very proud. He wants to show that he can take care of himself in China. It's very tragic how this is all developed.
It is. I wonder if the United States should be doing more to help the protesters as they're getting crushed by this government, or is that just a step too far for the United States in this extremely important, very delicate relationship with China and its rulers?
Well, if I were ambassador over there right now, I'd advise against that. That is not a good idea. China has been to this rodeo before. They know how to quell demonstrations. They're very good at it. They're going to probably let this ride out for a while, for 2 or 3 or 4 days. A lot of heavy police presence, and they're going to encourage the protesters to back down a little bit. Protesters realizing, hey, we can't do much more. But that's what I think they're going to do. If we were to try to aid the protesters, we'd be in a real world of hurt. During one summit I attended between President Obama and President Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping really was irritated and accused Obama of fomenting unrest in Hong Kong. He said, "Are you Americans? You're causing unrest in Hong Kong." Of course, President Obama said, "No, that's not the case." So we do not want to be in a position where we're perceived by the Chinese as helping some kind of insurrection, because that goes to the point of we're trying to stop China's rise, maybe even regime change. We don't want that.
You know, as we start to watch these videos come in of protesters being struck and beaten, and we think this is the biggest uprising we've seen since Tiananmen Square. How do you see this playing out? Do you think we could reach a violent ending like that?
I don't think so. No, frankly, there are demonstrations, but they're not nearly as widespread as Tiananmen. We're seeing reports all across China, but the crowds are not massive. They're there. They're not massive, and the crowds are starting to dwindle, frankly, because of a very heavy police presence. The real point here is we and China have to figure out how we get along with each other. And China's not going anywhere. China has its own problems. We're seeing one big problem right now. And of course, we in America, we're proud of ourselves. We're not going to go anywhere. But we have to work with China to figure out a way to work with this country, which is so different from ours in a very difficult circumstances. We're joining the hip economically. Our trade is about $650 billion, U.S.-China. So we have to figure out a way to work together.
That's a great point. I want to ask you, though, about one area where there is confrontation, and that's Taiwan. China continues to make steps that are being interpreted as preparations or at least threats to, at some point, take Taiwan. The United States maneuvering its military back in response. That's a real flashpoint. How concerned are you about that?
I'm a little concerned, but not terribly concerned. It's an irritant. Each side blames the other. I'm less concerned now because there's a change of government in Taiwan. And Tsai Ing-wen, the president, lost. She may, I don't know if this is the case, but she may have lost a few days ago, in part because of Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. I'm told by my Chinese friends, and I trust them totally, that President Tsai Ing-wen discouraged Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, and that may have had some consequences that caused the election. So the new government power is more inclined toward China, not very far, but more inclined toward China than the Tsai Ing-wen government.
All right. Former Ambassador and United States Senator Max Baucus, thank you very much for your insight and experience on this. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.